2025. How excited are you for camp to finally be here?
It's can't put it into words. It's indescribable. It's my last year, and just been soaking in all of the moments of the spring, the summer. Just, you know, this is the time. You know, this is the now. You know what I mean? So, to answer your question, it's an indescribable feeling going into this year. I mean, I'm super excited for the fall.
When we sat down at this point last year, it was getting to run out and doing all those firsts for the first time.
Yeah.
Now that you're past some of those firsts, does that make the butterflies any less when you run out of that tunnel for the first time? Or is it still just as exciting each and every time?
In terms of excitement, it's the same level of excitement, but in terms of you know, that just not knowing what to expect, that those are gone, obviously. But yeah, just coming out first game, you know what I mean, especially first home game, Long Island, it's gonna be, you know, you look up and you see your family, you see the fans, you see, the city that you were raised in. It's definitely still gonna have that wow moment.
I know when we talked last year, it was giving back and being in a place where finally you were home and you knew everything. How reinvigorating was it to be able to give back and have your family there in the stands and not having to worry about, can they watch you on the stream, are they traveling in, and just knowing that your support system was there?
Man, it's been awesome. It's been awesome, especially on the part where I get to impact people in the community that I was from, especially these young kids. You know what I mean? Showing them that, I wasn't who I was by luck. You know what I mean? I had to suffer and strain and apply myself and continue to be the best version of myself in order to become that. And I am able to go to my old little league teams and my old middle schools and high schools, hang out with my friends, inspire their siblings, you know what I mean? Be someone that, is known in the community as someone that beat the odds, and, to your point, being able to see my family, they could just drive down the street. My friends that I went to high school with, it's just honestly a blessing. It feels like a dream.
Ypsilanti's home for you, and someplace that's very special. What is it about this place and being able to give back that means so much to you?
I think it's just the fact that this was the city my parents came to, when they immigrated here, and this is the city that gave them a chance, and this is the city that gave me a chance, and this is the city that when I wasn't, at my best, right? Whether when I was at a kid, being a kid, or in school, and even some parts of college, this place was just home for me. You know what I mean? The locals, and being ingrained with the food here, and being ingrained with just all the resources that I could use here. And Ypsi is all I've ever known before college, and now to be able to come back is just awesome. So, yeah.
As a guy who was a starter for majority of last year, long way from where you were eating Wendy's and going to Planet Fitness, right?
Yeah, huge, man. It's.
Do you think back to those days and how the hard work paid off, but also think had I not done that, what could things have been?
Think about that a lot. I think about that a lot. I think about that a lot of stuff. It's actually funny because that very Planet Fitness, my little brother, he has a summer membership there, and we go together, and I help him out. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of nostalgic because I always tell him I was in your shoes. You know what I mean? Trying to, get bigger and stronger and faster and stuff like that. I think about that sometimes, but I understand that my will and just my want to play Division I football, right? To ultimately go to the NFL, like, was just so great that, like, I couldn't pass up the opportunity. And that's why I went through what I went through to get to this point, you know what I mean? So.
Family means a lot to you. How important is it to have them around at this point?
A lot. Very, very, very important. It's important to the point where it's, like, the conversations that we have about this season, it's almost, they're like the fuel to my car, you know what I mean? Them being at the games, being able to go over there, get a nice home-cooked meal, or, do laundry, you know what I mean? Hang out with mom, hang out with little brothers. That is rejuvenating. It's very refreshing. It gives me that reset that I need for the week. You know what I mean? So it's played a vital role especially this year, this summer. It's played a vital role, and yeah.
What have you worked on most in the off season to better your game?
I would say my pass rush, specifically, being able to work off different moves off of my strength. So my strength is my 2-to-1, and just working different moves like, stab club, and, you know what I mean, being able to bend and rip and, reach, finish at the quarterback. I think that was something that I needed to improve on more last season. Gave up some opportunities at some game-changing plays, but, we learned from them and been working on them. Me, Hector, Carter, even today after the lift, we were out there getting some extra work with that. So
having a guy in the off season like Max Crosby that wanted to give back to this program, and then has been able to be part of some D-line calls and office meetings, a guy like that still wanting to come back around and help a generation like you do.
I mean, it's powerful, and it's just a testament to what this program does for people. A top 5 DN, one of the best DNs in the NFL, period, being able to come back and do what he does for us, and in his own free will, you know what I mean, being our assistant GM, and, you know what I mean, being on Zoom calls with us and giving us tips and tricks and stuff like that. I think that's powerful, and it's motivating. It's very motivating. I watch a lot of his film. I actually did a cut-up on him. We had to do a cut-up in the DN room to present. Did a cut-up on him, and it's motivating. I think what I love about him most is his relentlessness, his ability to just attack, knowing that, your sack probably won't come on the first move. It'll probably come off the second effort. So I think it's just powerful what he's done for this program. Very grateful, especially with, you know what I mean, the fund deal, the NIL fund deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, super blessed to have him as an alumni to look up to.
What does it mean to the room to have the opportunity to compete for that 92?
It's actually awesome. It's exciting. It's exciting, especially the incentive of being able to go to a Raiders game. That's a super fun type of, But it's for us. It's we want to be the best versions of us, and we're gonna compete regardless. But it's also fun. It's fun to have, you know what I mean, incentives and things like that, which I think is pretty cool. We actually have somebody right now that's wearing 92, Hector Gonzalez, a freshman that's come. So yeah, it's just really cool. It's just really cool to have that.
Get you out here on this. The climb is the theme for the year. What does it mean?
The climb, obviously, so in our thought process is when you were climbing a mountain, you start at the bottom. Everybody's starting at the bottom, no matter what they say about us, no matter what they say, preseason rankings, stuff like that. We all start at the bottom. And on our climb, there are going to be things in the way. There are going to be things that, take us off our track. We're going to, I forget what the terminology is, but there are going to be times where when you climb a mountain, it almost feels like you're going backwards, right? to get up to the mountain. But regardless, you have to keep climbing. And, you know, there are different camps, right? Different, you know, camps, right? Like spring ball and summer. And he was just, and Coach Creighton did a very great job of using those analogies to allow us to understand like what type of part we're in our climb. And most importantly, when we get into the season, that climb doesn't stop. You know, we don't relax after a win, right? We don't just stop, right? The goal is to top, and we'll stop when we get to the top, you know. So the climb is essentially just to continue climbing no matter what adversity hits us, and understanding that, you know, the only way you lose is if you stop. So just keep going.